to relate in Salesforce Flow, how to relate a file uploaded through a flow to a record that is created later on in that same flow process. And so it's based off of this question by this Reddit user, and it's quite the conundrum actually, because normally how you relate a record or a file upload record to a normal record is using this related record ID. However, that doesn't make sense for this use case because the record that we want to create the record that we want to relate to the file upload is created later on. So even if we use this, in this case, I'm creating a contact record that I want to relate. But even if I use this contact ID and placed it on the related record ID, that wouldn't work because that ID would be null at that point. So to get around it, this is how you'll do it. And it's not a perfect solution, but it'll work. So what we do here is, so one thing to note is I am allowing multiple files, and it's important because I use a loop to kind of go through each file that was uploaded and relate it to the record that is created later on. If you don't allow multiple files, then you'll need to tweak the solution a little bit. Still not crazy difficult. What you'll need to do to set up the file upload component, the only thing you need to do is assign a new collection variable of type text, and that it allows multiple values, and place that variable here on the content document ID's output. And so what it's going to do, basically the gist of it is when you upload files through the flow, when the user clicks next, what happens is Salesforce is actually creating what's called content document records in the back end, and it's just kind of waiting for the flow to end to actually keep them, or if the flow doesn't end or if there's an error, it'll go ahead and delete them. But we're going to use these content record IDs to relate the file uploads to the record we want. And the way we do that is by using what's called a content document link record. And so the content document link object, it's kind of like a junction object where you're able to relate multiple content document records, think the actual file uploads, to multiple objects, records of multiple objects, the WAD IDs, if you've seen those. Um, so, uh, so yeah. In this screen here, I'm just going to confirm that the variable actually did store the IDs, the content document IDs. And then afterwards, it's going to create the record that we want to associate those documents to. In this case, it's a contact record. And it's going to associate it to using a loop to kind of go through each ID in that collection variable. So if there's 3, it's going to loop 3 times. If there's 2, just twice. You get the gist. And what doing it through a loop means that we're not going to have duplicates. It's going to run exactly as many times as it needs to. And so for each item of the loop, we're going to create a content document link record where the content document is the loop, the current item from the loop that we created, and the linked entity ID is the record ID that is outputted and created in the create element. In this case, it's this one right here for me. Okay, so let's see it in action. Hope it works. So I'm going to save, hit debug, and so we're going to upload 2 files here. And so we get the checkboxes. Kind of annoying how it doesn't show or confirm those out here outside the modal. But anyways, when we click next, you see these are the IDs that I was talking about. These are the content document record IDs. So perfect. So what's going to happen now when we click next? It's going to create the record, the new record for the object that we want to, or for the new record that we want to relate these documents to, and it's going to go ahead and create the content document link that will essentially relate those documents to that new record. I hope that makes sense. But let's see it in action. We click next. Doesn't look like there's any errors. If we look through here, this is the new contact ID. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And we see it went through loops twice, created the record, boom, perfect. So to just check, I'm going to paste my thing here. Oops. All right, so, and here we go. This is a new contact, and these are the new file uploads from that same flow. This will work fine if you use files instead of notes and attachments. Shouldn't be an issue. And to just show that this isn't an old record or anything, my computer is on Eastern time, but it seems like Salesforce is in Pacific. But yeah, this was submitted at 8:12. It's 8:13. So I'm not messing around here. Last thing I want to talk about is how to do it if there's only one file allowed per file upload. What I'll do is just basically what you would do is basically just allow or get this content document value here and place it here instead of the loop value. And it's not allowing me because this is a multiple value or multiple record collection variable. If it was just a single collection variable, you would be fine. And then you would just delete the loop and create a link straight from this create records to this create records. Not a fault. All right. I hope that helped. If it didn't, let me know. I'm happy to troubleshoot, but I think it will be fine. Oh, by no means this is a perfect solution, by the way. There are some flaws that I can see with this, especially with allowing multiple files. You gotta really ensure that there's no way that they can upload more than, whatever many files. Otherwise, this loop might break because we have a create element which throws DML statement and counts towards the limits within the loop. So, if that's something you're worried about, then I would go a different route, possibly outside of Flow. But if you're dealing with maybe an internal help desk queue or something like that, I think this would be just fine. All right, well, I hope you have a good rest of your evening, and hopefully I can troubleshoot more stuff with y'all. Thanks. Bye.